know how to respond to that other than thank you, Mayor. And thank you all for coming here tonight. It's a really urgent work that we're doing, and hopefully we can all work together to make this world a better place and a safer place for the next generation. I'm going to get right into it. I'm not as energetic as Mark said, but I'll try. Research clearly shows that when victims of abuse are believed and are given support, their outcome is actually very positive. Sadly, the reverse is true as well. When victims are not believed, and when they are made to be the perpetrators, they actually end up in very bad places. And that's really what we have to stop. What we all really must know as well is that the effect on victims is not just their sexuality. But when these things happen, it also strongly affects their emunah and their belief in Klal Yisrael. How is it possible for someone to remain faithful to a religion when they feel they're being betrayed by the leaders of that religion? How many people have we taken off the streets? How many kids have we buried from overdoses, from being untreated victims of sexual abuse? At what point is that going to stop? And I vote for it to stop right now. The truth is, when I speak to professionals around the world, and I've done it around the world, I have one question that's asked to me very often. What is it about the Orthodox Jewish community that protects the perpetrators and hurts the victims? And the truth is, I don't think that question is coming out of anti-Semitism. I think it's really a question they're curious to understand. Is it a religious backing? What is it? So, what I've actually found, and some of my mentors as well, is that when people are defending the perpetrators, they're actually doing it out of ahava. A misguided ahava, but ahava nonetheless. Human nature does not want to allow someone to believe that their friend, relative, family member, someone they grew up with can be doing such evil things. They would much prefer to think that the Russia is somebody down the block, the one you read about 10 states over. And they don't want to believe bad about people that they know. So when they're coming to the defense of people that we consider are monsters, sadly they're doing it with good intentions. And that's what we need people to understand. As we say, the road to Gehenna is paved with good intentions, and that's true here as well. What we first need to acknowledge, and by seeing the turnout here tonight, and by seeing what's been happening over the last few years, we're starting to get there, is we need to acknowledge there is a problem before we can move forward and set up a battle plan of how to solve it. And that's really what I'm going to be speaking about tonight. What we really must do, and it's really, a two-step process or a multi-step process, is we must really educate the parents to be able to educate our children. Our children need to know that they can be safe. They need to know that no one is allowed to violate them. They must feel secure and that if someone does hurt them, that we will protect them. We're going to be there for them. The studies show over 90% of victims that are treated right away do not become victims again. If they get the help that they need, they have the strength to move forward. Unfortunately, there's a phrase that I think was coined by Trisha Tia, which is when the victims don't get the help they need and they get re-victimized, they become susceptible, sorry about that, can't got my tongue, to being victimized for many, many years. And that happens time and time and time again. We need to train our children what it is that abuse is, albeit in the right way, and what to do if they feel that they're being abused, that they should know they have who to talk to, and they should know that they're going to be believed. Children don't lie about being abused. They don't. When someone says someone did something to them, believe them. Listen to them. Help them get the help that they need. There was a study done in UCLA about a sniper shooting on a playground in which a whole bunch of kids got killed and 2 9-year-olds survived. One of the 9-year-olds thrived and the other one had a terrible outcome. So they did some research to find out what's the difference. And what they came up with was the 9-year-old that survived, a week earlier, had a disaster planning class on earthquakes and utilized the skills that were taught in that class to duck, stay low, hide under a slide while this was going on. And in his mind, he felt safer because he was prepared. He had training. In reality, he wasn't any safer than the next kid. But the training kept him safe, which is how he was able to go forward. We need to create those trainings for our children for this field. We must make sure that when someone says they were abused, we listen. We get them help. We get them therapy. We do it right away. We don't try to figure out, did it happen, didn't it happen? This is what we need to do. Today, I had someone come to me, this is a true story, this morning at another event I was at, and tell me an 11-year-old girl said something. They don't think she was really abused, and she doesn't think she was either. Their family's thinking of leaving it alone. Maybe she'll forget about it and grow out of it. That's wrong. That's how these troubles start. We need to protect our kids to make sure that if they're molested, they can't be molested again. And give them the appropriate training to know what to look for. Talk to our kids. From the people that I'm speaking to, education begins as young as 3 years old. We don't have to scare our children. There are some very, very good materials out there, some great books to read to kids. I myself read them to my kids. One of them is Uncle Willie Tickles. My wife brought that book home. We've been reading it to our kids starting at 3 years old. Let's also go back a step. Let's remember what it's like to be parents. Have dinner with our kids. Turn off our cell phones. Spend time with them. Show them that we're there for them. A lot of times people come and say that the child said something and it was incoherent. Maybe it's not true. Maybe they made something up. I can't tell you how many grown adults, professionals, who start dealing with this issue sound incoherent when they discuss it. That doesn't mean someone's lying. They just may not know how to put it into words. And that's what we need to do to help them. We need to stay calm and remember, key point here, people that get treated have great outcomes. They can lead successful lives. That is what we need to do. We need to focus on getting the people the help that they need. There's a lot of interesting points and a lot of interesting books that are actually coming out in the near future. And I strongly, strongly urge, I actually have another book here that I researched today. One of my doctors gave it to me, Let's Talk Books, by Laurie Stauffer and Esther Deblinger. It's actually a great series of books also dealing with all sorts of issues pertaining to this. We need to be there for our next generation. I have young children. I will be honest, my biggest fear is my children getting abused. And I know that we're living in a society where there's no guarantees how to stop it. But we need to take every step possible to make sure that we are doing what is necessary to make sure that we are going to protect our children. I really thank all of you for coming here tonight. It really means a lot to all of us here that have really put a lot of time into this. I look forward to the day when these meetings will no longer be necessary. Amen.